Hey all, this is Church of Caboose, and for today's Destiny 2 video, we're going to talk about Trials of Osiris and what you should expect to experience more on the negative end, like the frustration end, for this upcoming Trials of Osiris, which starts on March 13th of 2020, so that's just a couple of weeks away in the Season of the Worthy. But before we get too much into that, if you like this video, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to have people to play with, I would love to have folks to do Trials of Osiris with, and for raids and anything else, so please check out my Church and Friends Discord server. Myself am on Xbox, but if we build enough of a community of people on different platforms, perhaps you'll be able to play on something besides Xbox, and this could work out relatively well for you. Okay, so let's get on into the video. I need to apologize real quick. In my last video about how to prepare for Season of the Worthy, I implied that the season was going to be incredibly heavily PvE dominant. However, Mike S. pointed out we didn't actually know that yet. Mike S. is a subscriber of mine, and so that was unfair of me to mislead people to believe that the upcoming season would be mostly PvP focused, and he is absolutely right, so I am sorry for that, and thank you, Mike S., for pointing out my mistake, and hopefully this is at least a good way to try and rectify the mistake I made. So let's get on into the video. First things first, the TWAB was just released, and I know it seemed like Trials was going to be really the main thing for the upcoming season, but in the TWAB, Luke Smith mentioned that there's going to be plenty of stuff to do for those that want to kill the minions of the darkness. So we should have a nice little roundabout way of getting everything, and perhaps we might not have a new raid, and maybe Trials is like the end game things that we have for this go around, but I'm sure we'll have plenty of other PvE things. Oh, thank you, Winnie Rose. Alright, so what should you guys be expecting from Trials? The reason I'm doing this video is because the last time we had Trials was in August of 2017, so it's been a while. It's been a long time since we had Trials, and so reasonably you might be someone who's never played Trials, or maybe you just want a refresher of the pain that is often associated to Trials the last two times we have had it, and that is the point of this video, is to just kind of give you a heads up about some of the things that could be frustrating, so you have an idea of what to expect, and how I at least counteract those frustrations. So first of all, clan involvement. Clans tend to evolve around what is the most rewarding for the season and what the majority of people are wanting to do. So in the event somehow Trials is the most desired aspect of Destiny 2, I would expect to see a higher number of PvP only or like PvP heavy clans coming up. So if you're in one of those clans, and odds are you are because a lot of these exist, that have both PvP and PvE, unfortunately there's a chance you could lose some of your top tier PvP guys to some of those PvP clans because they might want to have more than a couple of options of people to play with. So maybe just add some of those guys onto your friends list, because I'm sure they would still want to play with you. They just have a goal of knocking out their flawless, and if they're like people I've met in the past, once they have their 3 flawlesses for the week, they're kind of down to do whatever. So you never know, like maybe you just want to add them as a friend for just in case they bounce on your clan to go to a PvP clan, because really, who can blame them? Everyone needs to do what's in their own best interest of what they want to do, and so it'd be in your own best interest, especially if you're not one of those heavy PvP people, to maybe add those PvP people as your friends on your council's friend list. Alright, now let's talk a little bit about cheaters. Cheating will happen. It's going to happen. Cheating is incredibly prevalent in Trials, or really any kind of high tier competitive crucible thing there is. There's lots of it. It's all over the place. There's not a whole lot you can do about it besides maybe go to the roster, click on their name, report, and give a best estimation of what it is you think they're doing, and hope that Bungie will be able to verify what they are doing. Now, if you're really concerned that they are acting, you're like, yes, these guys are 100,000%, they are cheating, then make sure you're taking game clip recordings and submitting those somehow. You could probably just put them on Twitter and just be like, at Bungie help, we saw this. I'm pretty sure they're cheating, because usually when there's evidence provided as opposed to just a report, Bungie seems to react faster. Now, speaking of cheating, something that comes up with trials is lots of carry services. You will have lots of LFG posts as you're scrolling through on whatever LFG system you use, being like, hey, I'll carry for trials, or trials carries cheap. Same kind of deal that you have probably been seeing for those pinnacle weapons like Lunatal, Revoker, etc. So make sure, don't do those. Don't do those. The way a lot of those guys get their money and their clients, like to maximize both, is by cheating. And I would list the ways they could be cheating, but then that might give you an idea how to cheat, and I don't want to contribute to that. So we're just going to kind of leave the cheating at that, which is don't do those carry services. The only carry service I would consider myself, if I was someone that had enough money to pay for that kind of thing, it'd be a carry service where you get to play with 2 dudes and you're just basically paying to have a fire team and they guarantee you to win. Like, there are people that do that, so just make sure you're being careful if you fall into that category of folks that are going to pay for a flawless run, which I also wouldn't blame you too much, because with the new title being called Flawless, I wouldn't be too surprised if there was some sort of like a minimum of 1 flawless ticket required in order to acquire that title. Alright, we're getting close here to the end of the video. One of the last things I wanted to talk about was how to deal with toxic people. There are going to be extremes of the human grandness in trials. We're going to have those amazing folks that just want to help out everybody. They want to carry. They want to get all their viewers a flawless run. I really wish I was good enough to offer that to you guys as an incentive for checking out my channel and just to help build my own, like, I guess, friends list, because I do like having people I can play with. So again, if you want to play with me, I'd love to have you, but unfortunately I am not good enough to carry you, or at least I don't think I am. We'll find out when Trials comes out. And so, like, you can have folks like that, but the more common kind of person you will run into is the raging asshole that's just going to be yelling and screaming. Everyone's doing everything wrong. He's the only one, or she's the only one doing everything right, although, let's be real, I've mostly only met guys that are this much of jerks. Not saying girls aren't like this either, but, you know, it's probably a dude. And so you just gotta, I would say, deal with it for the game. You can leave the party. It's a bigger douche move to leave in the middle of a match, and that person could more impact you by reporting you to Xbox, and then Xbox or Bungie's like, oh, you left in the middle of the match. Now you're in timeout. So just finish out the game. Leave the fire team. Leave the party. Scratch your card if you want. And just start over new with some new people. And that's really all you can do. You can try being like, hey, you're being mean. Knock that off. But most people these days, for whatever reason, don't really care too much about that. And so you're just better off just taking charge of your own life and leaving. And that's some advice I need to do for myself. I tend to be that kind of nice person that lets everyone else be how they are. And I just kind of deal with it, even if it's driving me nuts, and I need to not do that as much. So that's something I hope to do with this whole trials thing. Then finally, we're going to wrap this up with weapon metas. Weapon metas tend to really tick folks off. You get all kinds of people that are like, whoa, well, so-and-so only won because they used Jotun or blah, 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 blah. Well, good news is, backup plan will no longer be an option on fusion rifles coming, or at least those like Aaron Tills and Wiseland Rebukes, those high impact frames coming with Season of the Worthy. So that's a good thing. But otherwise, really the only way you can combat those ridiculous metas is to have those metas available on your character yourself. Something I tend to do is I like to use whatever it is I want to use, and then if someone is being really annoying and kicking my butt, I'm like, haha, I can use it too, and then switch to it during the time that I am down and waiting to get revived. So that's just how I would counteract the weapon metas. Unfortunately, can't do a whole lot about the metas. If something works really well, people are going to use it, and you probably might as well use it yourself. Like, that's just what I would suggest you do. Okay, guys, thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video. I would love to hear your thoughts. Like, what are you excited about with Trials? What are you excited about with Season of the Worthy? Do you have any goals? Did I leave something out that really maybe annoyed you? Because I based this list off of my experience. And so, like, I would just kind of love to hear what you guys think down below. Again, thank you to Mike S for pointing out my mistake in my last video. I appreciate it, and thanks for being you and still sticking out with my channel, man. I appreciate it. Alright, guys, I am Church of Caboose. Have a great week and happy grinding, y'all.